Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 58th Annual Torrance Armed Forces Day Parade. My name is Admiral, formerly of KTLA News, ABC News. Perhaps you recognize me from the Torrance Police Department now. Coming right down the lane. Before the parade gets started, I'd like to introduce to you the Torrance Police Department Motor Detail. Round of applause.
Established 1928, the City of Torrance was one of the first agencies in Los Angeles County to adopt a motor detail. And because we appreciate these folks, I'm going to name them off one by one. Call sign, Tom 15, Sergeant Vic Estrada. Motor 5, Officer Kelly Stovall. Motor 8, Officer Jason McDonald. Motor 13, Officer Stuart Scott. Motor 4, Officer Claude Fierro. Motor 10, Officer Jason Sena. Motor 12, Officer Kevin Howard Powell.
On Motor 3, Officer Mike Grell, and on Motor 1, Officer Hector Salas. Round of applause for the folks.
Straight overhead, that's a North American Aviation B-25 PBJ Mitchell bomber. During World War II, the Marine Corps operated surplus B-25 Mitchells with the designation PB for patrol bomber. The Marines use this aircraft extensively in the South Pacific. This is the only flying B-25 Marine Corps bomber in operation today, hailing from the Commemorative Air Force in Camarillo. We're waiting for T-6s to fly over. These will be North American Aviation T-6 Texans. So the next 3 flyovers will be of the Texans. Their aviation AT-6 is the preeminent trainer for the U.S. forces throughout World War II and beyond.
All right. Approaching 100 feet down the lane, the Joint Services Color Guard. Ladies and gentlemen, a rousing welcome, please, for the Joint Services Color Guard. Ladies and gentlemen, our esteemed Grand Marshal, General Ellen M. Pawlikowski. General Pawlikowski serves as the commander of the Air Force Material Command at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio. She's in charge of Air Force acquisition, logistics, sustainment, across an 80,000-person, $60 billion enterprise. General Pawlikowski entered the Air Force in 1978 through the ROTC program at the New Jersey Institute of Technology. She went to the University of California, Berkeley, received a doctorate in chemical engineering in December 1981, entering active duty at McClellan Air Force Base, California, April 1982. And riding with the General today is her daughter, Miss Jennifer Greenwood. Another round of applause. And approaching now our Honorary Grand Marshal, Mr. Anthony Denison. Round of applause, please. Award-winning actor, Tony Denison, joining the cast of The Closer, starring Kira Sedgwick as Detective Andy Flynn in 2005, quickly becoming TNT's #1 drama. Well, I don't need to tell you that. He's transitioning to the role as an officer who's facing crime, sees Hahn, preparing his son, breaking all records. And Flynn, assistant fan favorite. Actually, known as Antics. Opposite G.W. Bailey's Lieutenant Cortez, and his characters in his romance with Mary McDonald, Captain Shirley. Perhaps you know they call him Ashcraft. Riding with Anthony today is his guest, Michelle Davis, round of applause. The T6 is approaching in the background.
Playing our song.
Fury was elected to the City Council in 2008, elected mayor in 2014. He's been a resident of Torrance for 30 years. He's also a veteran of the United States Army. Riding with him today is wife Terry. Mayor Fury, proud to be the mayor of what he considers the most patriotic city in America. I'm sure no one will disagree. Ladies and gentlemen, Councilman Wiedemann, round of applause. When he was elected to the City Council in July 2013, he's been a resident of Torrance for 61 years. Riding with him today is his wife Sue Golden and their son and daughter Christopher and Jean Golden Wiedemann. Councilman Wiedemann watched the first Torrance Armed Forces Navy raid in 1960. Talk about a veteran. And we welcome to the stands Councilman Heidi and Ashcraft. Appointed to the City Council December 2013, elected to the City Council June 2014, a resident of Torrance for 39 years. Riding with her today, her husband, Dan Ashcraft, who, by the way, is a Torrance Police Department chaplain, and their granddaughter, Annabelle Gonzalez. Ladies and gentlemen, seated high above the red Tesla, Councilman Tim Goodrich. Elected to the City Council in June 2014. Councilman Goodrich served 4 years in the United States Air Force, as you can see. And approaching now, how are you, sir? Councilman Jeff Rizzo. Elected to the City Council June 2014, re-elected June 2016. Jeff's a lifelong resident, a retired Torrance Police Lieutenant, 30 years of service. And riding with today is his wife, Valor, and his son, Anthony, who's pointing to the front there. Anthony's driving the car. Ladies and gentlemen, Councilman Mike Griffiths. I'm doing my best. Hard to smile and talk. Councilman Brooks was elected to the City Council August 2014. He's been a resident of Torrance since 1983. And his father served in the United States Army. And riding with him today is his longtime girlfriend, Cecilia of Toronto. And his son, Alex Griffiths, as well. Councilman Wilton Herring. Elected City Council June 2016. Retired Lieutenant Colonel Herring, I should say. Is a 28-year veteran of both the U.S. Air Force and the U.S. Army. Riding with him today is wife Cynthia and two of their grandkids, Naya and Matt. Round of applause. And approaching the reviewing stand now, Ms. Rebecca Poirier, our beloved city clerk. Ms. Poirier was elected city clerk in June of 2014. She's been a resident of Torrance for 9 years. And riding with her today is her lifelong friend, Carla Serrano. And her godson, Vincent and Anna Serrano. And a warm welcome to the reviewing stand for our city treasurer, Ms. Dana Cortez. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, T6 is overhead. Ms. Cortez was elected city treasurer in 2010. She's been a resident of Torrance for 10 years. And riding with her today are her daughters, Vanessa Berrigan, Natasha Berrigan, and Ariana Berrigan. Welcome. And atop the Indianapolis 500 base car, Mr. Ted Lieu, United States Congressman. Elected to Congress 2014, re-elected in 2016. Ted is a former Torrance City Council member, proudly calls Torrance his home. He served on active duty in the Air Force in the 1990s and currently a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force Reserves. So his service continues. Ladies and gentlemen, California State Assemblyman Almer Suchi. California State Assembly member Almer Suchi, representing the 66th Assembly District, including Torrance and most of the South Bay, a former prosecutor and Deputy Attorney General of the California Department of Justice, a former Torrance School Board member as well. He's currently the chairman of the Joint Legislative Audit Committee and the Assembly Select Committee on Aerospace and a member of the Veterans Affairs Committee. And passing the reviewing stand, even as we speak, Los Angeles County Supervisor Janis Hahn. Ms. Hahn proudly represents Torrance and much of the South Bay on the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors. Today and every day she thanks the men and women of our armed forces for their service, their bravery, and their sacrifice. Ladies and gentlemen, approaching in the convertible Audi, Brigadier General Jeff Broadwater from the Army. Warm welcome. Brigadier General Jeff Broadwater is a 1989 distinguished military graduate of the University of Kentucky and was commissioned as an armor officer. BG Broadwater has served in a variety of assignments to include commander of the 3rd Squadron, 7th U.S. Cavalry at Fort Stewart, Georgia, commander of the 2nd ABCT, and commander of the 1st ID, the 1st Regionally Aligned Brigade to AFRICOM. He was deployed to Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Haiti, and 2 tours to Iraq and a tour to Afghanistan. Warm welcome. And approaching the viewing stand, as we speak, Major General Mark Palzer from the Army Reserves. Major General Palzer is a distinguished military graduate in the United States Military Academy at West Point. He's commanded all levels of the Army and been deployed to both Iraq and Afghanistan.
Major General Palzer, currently commanding the 79th Sustainment Support Command, located in Los Alamitos, Orange County, California. The 79th provides command and control for more than 20,000 Army Reserve logistics soldiers across the western United States. Ladies and gentlemen, Brigadier General Mark G. Malenka, Army National Guard. Brigadier General Malenka serves as the commander of the California Army National Guard's 40th Infantry Division, headquartered at Joint Forces Training Base Los Alamitos. He commands and controls the division's headquarters and assigns subordinate commands more than 10,000 soldiers stationed from Sacramento to the California-Mexico border. And a warm welcome, please, for Brigadier General Michael F. Fahey from the Marine Corps. Brigadier General Michael Fahey III, currently the commanding General Force Headquarters Group, Marine Forces Reserve. Some of his prior commands include the 3rd Battalion, 9th Marines, serving as a rifle platoon commander, weapons platoon commander, company executive officer. He deployed with the 3-9 in support of Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm. In 1997, he transitioned from the infantry to the intelligence field. Other notable positions include Deputy Director, Joint Detachment, San Diego, California, Joint Intelligence Center of the Pacific, Honolulu, Hawaii, Commanding Officer, 4th Force Reconnaissance Company, and the Commanding Officer for Intelligence Support Battalion. His personal awards include the Legion of Merit, Defense Meritorious Service Medal, Meritorious Service Medal with Gold Star, the Joint Service Commendation Medal, and many more. And a warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen, for Rear Admiral Yancy B. Lindsey of the Navy. Rear Admiral Yancy Lindsey, a native of Phoenix, Arizona, a 1986 graduate at University of California, Berkeley, commissioned through Aviation Officer Candidate School, October 1968. 86. I just added a few years to you. A lengthy career made lengthier by the broadcaster. He was designated a naval aviator in December 1987. And during his Navy career, Admiral Lindsey has flown the LC-130 aircraft for Antarctic Development Squadron 6 and the E-2C Hawkeye for Carrier Airborne Early Warning Squadron 113. During these tours of duty, he completed 3 deployments to Antarctica and 2 deployments to the Arabian Gulf aboard the aircraft carriers USS Carl Vinson and USS Abraham Lincoln. Among his awards, Defense Superior Service Medal, Legions of Merit, Meritorious Service Medal, and the Joint Service Commendation Medal. Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant General Samuel A. Greaves from the Air Force. Lieutenant General Greaves is the commander of the Space and Missile Systems Center, Air Force Space Command, Los Angeles Air Force Base, and the Air Force Program Executive for Space. The executive officer. General Greaves manages the research, the design, development, acquisition, and sustainment of space launch vehicles and satellites, like GPS systems and their associated command and control systems, responsible for more than 5,000 employees nationwide and an annual budget of over $6 billion. Today, he's accompanied by his lovely wife, Miss Patricia Greaves. And ladies and gentlemen, approaching the reviewing stand, Rear Admiral Todd A. Sokalzuk from the Coast Guard. Rear Admiral Sokalzuk assumed his duties as commander of the 11th Coast Guard District, July of 2016, and as such, oversees multi-mission safety, security, and environmental stewardship, Coast Guard operations from the California-Oregon border to Peru, including Arizona, Utah, and Nevada. He also serves as the Deputy Director for the Department of Homeland Security's Joint Task Force West, conducting integrated joint investigations and operations along the southern border and approaches from Texas to California. As a flag officer, he most recently served at Coast Guard headquarters in Washington, D.C. He was the Assistant Commandant for Resources and the Chief Financial Officer for the U.S. Coast Guard. And now, ladies and gentlemen, approaching our Legion of Valor members. First up, Arthur Black, United States Air Force, trained as a pararescueman. He served on a team for 2 years with the 79th Air Rescue Squadron at Andersen Air Force Base in Guam, volunteered for duty in Southeast Asia, flying on rescue helicopters into North Vietnam. On September 20th, 1965, attempting to rescue a downed fighter pilot, Neil and his crew were shot down. They were captured by the North Vietnamese. After 7.5 years of captivity, he returned home February 1973. A round of applause. I present to you Sergeant Scott Montoya, United States Marine Corps. Sergeant Montoya received the Navy Cross serving as a scout sniper for the 2nd Battalion, 23rd Marine Division during Operation Iraqi Freedom. April 8th, 2003, during the battle for Baghdad, Sergeant Montoya's scout sniper team arrived as Company F was coming under heavy small arms fire. He rushed forward to drag a wounded Iraqi civilian to safety, did the same for 2 wounded Marines, one that couldn't get off that street. He then ensured the wounded Marines received medical assistance and were evacuated. An outstanding display of decisive leadership, courage in the face of enemy fire, utmost devotion to duty in keeping with the highest tradition of the Marine Corps. Ladies and gentlemen, Sergeant Edward E. Foster. Sergeant Foster received the Bronze Star Medal with V for Valor as a medic in the Korean War at the Battle for Pork Chop Hill, 14th November 1952. Shortly after the first rounds of mortar began, and with complete disregard for his own safety, he responded to a cry for a medic. He left his place of cover, ran to the side of a wounded soldier in a minefield, while mortar rounds were falling all around him. And after providing aid to that soldier, he evacuated him to safety for further medical attention. Sergeant Foster himself was wounded 3 days later on the 17th of November 1952 at the outpost Pork Chop and evacuated to Japan. He's 85 years old now, folks. Round of applause. By the way, this is Sergeant Foster's 15th consecutive year at the Armed Forces Day Parade. His heroism in action and outstanding devotion to duty reflect great credit to himself, the 2nd Engineer Combat Battalion, and the United States Army. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have something very special for you. It's called Wings of Blue. And to introduce them and tell you all about them and talk you through it, Captain Chris Reynolds from the Air Force. Round of applause.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Captain Chris Reynolds from Tampa, Florida. I'm a 2008 Air Force Academy graduate, senior pilot with over 2,500 flight hours in various aircraft, including the UV-18B Twin Otter, which is our team's primary jump aircraft, the C-130J Hercules, which is the big brother to the jump aircraft we will be using today, and the T-1J Hawk, which is the primary training platform for your mobility air forces. I have over 650 jumps, and today it is my privilege to narrate for you this demonstration of precision parachuting skills by your United States Air Force parachute team, the Wings of Blue. The aircraft being used in today's demonstration is the mighty C-130 Hercules, flown out of Reno, Nevada by the fine airmen of the 192nd Airlift Wing, proudly representing the Nevada Air National Guard. This aircraft is the primary tactical airlift platform of the United States Air Force. Our drop zone control officer for today's demonstration is Master Sergeant Rick McClure from Florence, Alabama. He has over 5,500 jumps to his credit. Assisting him for today's demonstration are Master Sergeant Matthew Popowski from Los Angeles, California, Tech Sergeant Jason Hopper from Joplin, Missouri, Staff Sergeant Lakeisha Henson from Kylene, Texas. Our jumpers, who you will be seeing shortly, are Lieutenant Colonel Sean Berriman from Graceland, Tennessee, with over 1,200 jumps. Lieutenant Colonel Berriman is a senior pilot with time in the A-10 Warthog and the Twin Otter. He is the commander of the 98th Flying Training Squadron and the Air Force Parachute Team, the Wings of Blue. Today, he is jumping with Mr. Steve Archuleta, who has over 9,000 parachute jumps to his credit from Denver, Colorado. Master Sergeant James Kane from Odessa, Texas, with over 2,500 jumps, and Master Sergeant Patrick Sullivan from Weiser, Idaho, with over 900 jumps. And now, ladies and gentlemen, if you will direct your attention high overhead, you will notice our aircraft on jump run. Watch closely, and you should actually be able to see the jumpers as they exit the aircraft. And there they go. Skill and discipline are required, because without it, flying so closely to other canopies could become very hazardous. Remember, these canopies are made of very flexible fabric that, if flown improperly, could result in our jumpers becoming wrapped up and entangled. The skill and discipline demonstrated here to avoid such an accident is only acquired through multiple parachuting events in a controlled training environment.
Now, obviously, these are a generation of parachutes and parachutists. They've gotten better and better as the years go on, the technology increases. What are the parachutes now able to do that they weren't able to do in the past, sir?
Well, if you look up, you can see them performing what is known as the Doolittle downplane with smoke trailing. That's something new. Our two parachutes are coming to the ground at a rate of approximately 60 miles per hour. As you can see, they'll break apart and safely make individual landings. And if you look high above, the American flag has just been unfurled.
Captain Reynolds, this is absolutely magnificent. How often are you able to perform this kind of a stunt? How often do you do this?
This is actually relatively routine for us, the United States Air Force Parachute Team. It's our job. We do it every day. Getting the opportunity to come out here to Torrance and perform for the fine folks here is truly a privilege, though. Now our final two jumpers, Master Sergeant Pat Sullivan and Master Sergeant James Kane, will eventually split off and land individually. Master Sergeant Sullivan is carrying the American flag, and Master Sergeant Kane is trailing a red, white, and blue streamer. And as previously mentioned, all our parachutes have multiple skydives and have trained for this in a very controlled environment. At this time, I would like to thank you all very much for your attention. We hope that you've enjoyed watching today's demonstration as much as we have enjoyed bringing it to you. Have a great day.
Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Chris Reynolds from the United States Air Force. Round of applause, please. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome for the South High Spartan Marching Band and Color Guard. Round of applause for the South High Spartans.
Ladies and gentlemen, approaching the reviewing stand, the Montfort Point Marine Association. Round of applause, please. The Montfort Point Marines are the forerunners of today's modern-day Marine Corps. From June 1942 to September 1949, about 20,000 black Marines trained at a separate boot camp at Montfort Point Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. And during World War II, every Marine amphibious landing except Guadalcanal, black Marines were in direct support of those operations and received many battle citations for their heroic actions. As General Alexander Vandergrift, Commandant of the Marine Corps, referred to them, they are the chosen few. They are no longer on trial. These are Marines. These original Montfort Point Marines received the Congressional Gold Medal on June 27, 2012 from the President of the United States. A warm welcome from us. Approaching now the 100th 442nd Veterans Association. After the attack on Pearl Harbor, those of Japanese ancestry living in Hawaii and American ground were treated as the enemy. Over 120,000 people either arrested or forced to move from California, Oregon, or Washington. Limited to carrying what they could, they were put in isolation camps surrounded by barbed wire. Despite this, thousands wanted to prove they were as American as anyone else, so they joined the 100th Infantry Battalion and the 442nd Regimental Combat Team. Their battle cry, "Go for broke," fighting valiantly in Italian and French campaigns, later becoming known as one of America's most decorated military units. Ladies and gentlemen, the World War II veterans approaching.
How are you doing?
Riding in the first Jeep, Gayatri, 103 years old, serving as an Army Lieutenant Colonel, Company Commander in the South Pacific.
Nice to meet you, Joe. Thank you for your service.
This is Joe Eskenazi, serving as an Army Private First Class, December 7th, 1941, Hickman Field. Also in attendance, Mr. Russ Meyer, Navy Signalman, 3rd Class, Pacific Theater. On 2 ships, each hit by the kamikazes. He rode on the USS Indianapolis and carried parts of the atomic bomb. I'll name some of the names of these folks. This is Leroy Forehand, an Aviation Ordnance First Class in the Navy. Joe DeMille, a Major in the Army Air Corps. Mr. Harry Nelson in the Coast Guard, Signalman First Class in Africa. This is the greatest generation. These are the actual men and women who fought on board the ships that kept us in safe hands and responsible for who we are today. John Fahey, a Navy radioman First Class, Battle of Attu. Tony DeQuisto, a Navy fireman engineer in the Philippines during the liberation there. Jim Harrison, Army Sergeant Major in Europe, Alaska, Germany, Austria, Korea, and Vietnam. this Air Force Base on it. So just scratch this, or...
You should go get something up close and personal.
Okay. Also in attendance, Mr. John Reynolds, a Navy Chief Petty Officer, Missile Technician in the Pacific, Mr. Norman Haroldson, Army Corporal, Merle Moore, serving the Army Corps, Mr. Charles Deemer, Pete Ellis, Glenn Clayland, Tito Fernando Stier, Navy Yeoman Second Class, Gilbert Gottfried, Leon Silverman, Andy Hermanson, serving in the Marine Corps, Private First Class Infantry, 38th Parallel. Some of the other folks you may have heard in past parades, and they're here again. Mr. Howard Rogers, serving in the Navy as an electronic technician, second class, radio repair in the Pacific. Robert Escobedo, Army Private First Class, Transportation Division, serving in the Philippines. Mr. Arthur Ho, serving as a staff sergeant in Honolulu. December 7th, 1941, he helped to rescue vets on the disabled ships, also served in Guadalcanal. Names like Lou Davis, Wally Draper, certainly here last year, an Army Air Corps Corporal. Mr. Raul Gonzalez, serving as an Army paratrooper, 187th paraglider. Mr. Al Erd, serving in Iwo Jima, Army Air Corps Tech Sergeant, radio operator, gunner of B-17, flying 50 combat missions. Kenny Merrill, serving in occupied Japan. Ladies and gentlemen, God bless our heroes. Love your freedom. Thank a World War II vet. There's an old saying, being deeply loved by someone gives you strength, while loving someone deeply gives you courage. And with those words, I'd like to introduce Dr. Melvin Engelman and Mrs. Muriel Engelman, the two Jaguars that you see approaching. Please give a hearty, patriotic welcome to Dr. Melvin Engelman and his wife Muriel Engelman, both 96 years old, married 67 years. Mel served as a Marine in the occupation of Nagasaki, followed by service in North China. Muriel as an Army nurse in the Battle of the Bulge. Their love of America gave them the courage to face our enemies during World War II, and their love of each other has given them strength throughout 67 years of marriage. By the way, you can learn more about their fascinating life in Muriel's book, Mission Accomplished, Stop the Clock. She'll be telling war stories. She'll be signing books as well at the Torrance Historical Society tomorrow, 2 p.m. if you happen to be around. Thank you, Mel and Muriel, for your brave service to our country. Ladies and gentlemen, the Torrance Dance and Drill Team. Torrance Dance and Drill Team has been a participant of the Armed Forces Parade since 1965. The program began in 1960 as a Parks and Recreation class. It's continued to grow into an award-winning dance and drill team. They're proud to represent the city of Torrance in their travels throughout Southern California, performing and competing in various parades, shows, and in competitions. The team is made up of 31 dancers from kindergarten to the 8th grade, under the supervision of Director Javonda Jones and Assistant Director Callie Hall. We're looking at our 5K run winners today, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations, 5K run winners. That's Catherine McKellar and her husband, Michael McKellar. And Omar Gonzalez. Congratulations. Folks, the L-17 Navions, which will be approaching, are the North American Aviation Navions used by the United States Air Force. Their training command during post-World War II, that period. You'll see them coming over in just a few minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, the U.S. Navy battleship Iowa. The battleship Iowa, BB-61, launched in 1942, serving in World War II, the Korean War, and the Cold War. The Iowa then spent the next 21 years rusting in mothballs till 2011, when the Pacific Battleship Center obtained her from the U.S. Navy and brought her back to life as a proud museum and a STEM education center. So now they teach STEM principles to over 16,000 LAUSD kids annually, bridging the past with future generations. And celebrating the Iowa's 75th anniversary this year, you can do that as well by visiting her on the LA waterfront in San Pedro. Ladies and gentlemen, the veterans of foreign wars, District 4. The 4th District Veterans of Foreign Wars and VFW Auxiliary assists veterans and their families end active duty. In the first car, 4th District Commander George Smith Sr., 4th District Senior Vice President Yolanda Cannon, driver Jim Certain, the 4th District Quartermaster. And on the flatbed truck that you see approaching, we have the past State Commander, past 4th District Commander Howard Hagan, State Senior Vice VFW Auxiliary President Tracy Lewis Ventris, and several members of the 4th District, the VFW, and the VFW Auxiliary. Welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, the personnel carrier you see approaching. We have the Veterans of Foreign Wars, District 53. I would say the first thing you need to know about them is their slogan, "Never again will one generation of veterans abandon another." The Vietnam Veterans of America, South Bay, Chapter 53. Thrilled again to be participating in the Torrance Armed Forces Day Parade. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the only Vietnam Veterans of America service organization specifically chartered by Congress to service Vietnam veterans and their families, providing assistance to veterans of all wars, past and present, well known in the halls of Congress. And now a warm, rousing welcome for the Bob Hope USO. Bob Hope USO, since 1941, lifting the spirits of America's troops and keeping them connected to the family and home that they all know and love. Coming across now, the Boys and Girl Scouts of America. The mission of the Boy Scouts is to prepare young people to make ethical and moral choices over their lifetimes, instilling them with the values of the Scout oath and law. The Boy Scouts of America is the largest scouting organization in the U.S., more than 2.4 million youth participants. Ladies and gentlemen, marching into place before you are the approximately 500 young men and women who are preparing to join all the various branches of the United States military. This continues to be one of the largest mass oath of enlistment ceremonies conducted publicly. It's a valued tradition of the Torrance Armed Forces Day Parade at a time when our nation's been conducting sustained combat operations globally. In support of the war on terror, it's especially fitting we recognize the sacrifices they're voluntarily willing to make in defense of our great nation. These, ladies and gentlemen, are the young men and women vowing to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. Ladies and gentlemen, these young men and women are truly the cream of the crop of our society, representing less than 1% of all eligible men and women in this nation, and will continue the honored tradition of defending the freedoms we've enjoyed in this nation for over 239 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, citizens of the South Bay, you're about to witness a ceremony that dates back to the American Revolution. When George Washington first formed the Revolutionary Army, he decided that to be part of the Army, to be part of serving your country, meant more than just signing up for a couple of years. It meant more than a job. It meant more than an enlistment contract. And so the very first time this oath that I'm about to read and that these young men and women are going to take predates even the Constitution that they will pledge to protect and defend. So today, they're about to become soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardsmen. And as part of that, they are going to pledge to protect and defend our Constitution. In return, we are going to pledge to put our health and our safety in their hands. So this is a serious commitment that these young men and women are taking on, and one that we are taking on to support them. So, future soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardmen, are you ready for this? All right, then raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your full name. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me according to regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause. The largest mass oath of enlistment ceremonies conducted publicly. An absolute wonder to witness, ladies and gentlemen. The next generation of soldiers. The next generation of those who will be winning medals. The next generation of those supporting the military abroad. The next generation of those who will applaud on this parade route when they return victorious from wherever they happen to go, wherever they're deployed, and whatever it takes to keep this country safe and free. Proud heritage for the City of Torrance, as is the parade itself. And the Division I bands are making their way down the runway. In the distance, you can see the West High Entertainment Unit. And overhead, the P-17 cadets, Stearman P-17s. The Stearman airplane, by the way, was the first aircraft that many aviation cadets ever flew from the 1930s all the way through World War II. Ladies and gentlemen, making their way down the parade route, the West High Entertainment Unit, one of the most widely traveled musical organizations in the Western United States. Performing in 21 foreign countries, traveling to Europe every 5 years, an outstanding group. Performing for the National Football League in Europe, as well as in the United States. Also selected as the first band of the drill team for the 1984 Olympics in Los Angeles. Ladies and gentlemen, the Los Angeles Air Force Base Honor Guard. Up above, the P-51 Mustang. Coming back around. This is the Los Angeles Air Force Base Honor Guard, representing Space and Missile Systems Center at Los Angeles Air Force Base El Segundo. The Base Honor Guard has two missions. The first, providing military honors for deceased active duty, retired, and veteran members of the United States Air Force, Army Air Corps, Army Air Force, and Women's Air Force. And the second mission is to support base and community events through the execution of the Color Guard, the Saber Arch, and Rifle Cordon teams. Honor Guard, comprised of active duty members who volunteer from various organizations on the base. And we also have the United States Air Force Marching Unit, commanded by Colonel Charles P. Roberts, the 61st Air Base Group. Again, the P-51 Mustang overhead. Colonel Roberts leads 5 squadrons, 6 staff agencies totaling over 850 personnel, 1.3 billion in physical plant assets. And a really cool toy for your kids if you got the money. The 61st Air Base Group, providing day-to-day installation operations, medical, civil engineering, communications, security, logistics, personnel readiness, and quality of life services to the Space and Missile Systems Center and many other Department of Defense units in the Los Angeles Basin. Round of applause, please. And now approaching the reviewing stand, the Civil Air Patrol Beach City Squadron 107 Knights. The 107 Knights meet every Wednesday evening at the Zamperini Field in Torrance. Civil Air Patrol is celebrating 75 years of service to the country. On July 1st, 1946, President Harry Truman established the Civil Air Patrol as a federally chartered nonprofit. And this is the San Pedro High School Air Force Junior ROTC. Established in June of 1995, very involved with school and community service activities, including the VFW, the American Legion. Former cadets here are proudly serving in all branches of the armed forces, stationed throughout the world, including the Middle East, Europe, Africa, South America. And as they pass, just a quick note about the San Pedro High School Air Force Junior ROTC members. They've won numerous awards, including 7 Air Force Junior ROTC Distinguished Unit Awards, as well as 2 congressional citations. A very proud group from San Pedro. Ladies and gentlemen, the 300th Army Band. And hot on their heels, the 11th Army Cavalry Regiment's Horse Detachment. Carrying the flags of the National Training Center and the 11th Armored Cavalry Regiment are the 11th Armored Cavalry Regiment Horse Detachment. Established in August 2000, capturing the historical lineage of the 11th ACR out of Fort Irwin, California. They're active in change of command ceremonies, NTC rotations, local events, recruiting efforts to the U.S. Army. And the troopers of the 11th ACR Horse Detachment wear the 1901 U.S. Army Cavalry uniform. 1901. And also going by you now, the 11th Army Cavalry Regiment M3 half-track. Serving primarily as a personnel carrier, shuttling infantry to and from the front. This is the 11th Army Cavalry Regiment's 1st Squadron marching element. The soldiers here are carrying their own personal weapons. The formation is called the wedge. It's the most basic and most popular fire team and/or squad formation. The interval between the team members is usually 10 meters, but they can expand and contract depending on the terrain. there's rough terrain or poor visibility, or there are other factors that make controlling the fire team difficult, they can reduce the interval. The sides of the wedge can collapse and then reopen. And once again, these are their own personal weapons, ladies and gentlemen. And approaching with a sense of grace, majesty, and weighty authority. The 11th Army Cavalry Regiment's M1A1 Abrams tank. This is a third-generation main battle tank produced in the U.S. It's named after General Crichton Abrams, the former Army Chief of Staff, well-armed, heavily armored, highly mobile. Hot on their heels, the 11th Army Cavalry Regiment's M2A2 Bradley Infantry Fighting Vehicle, the M2A2 ODS, designed to transport infantry and other soldiers, providing armored protection while providing cover fire to suppress enemy troops and armored vehicles. The M2 holds a crew of 3, a commander, a gunner, and a driver, as well as 6 fully equipped soldiers. The Bradley's primary armament is a 25mm cannon. Ladies and gentlemen, the M109 Field Artillery, a 155mm self-propelled howitzer. First introduced in the 60s. Upgraded a number of times, most recently to the M109A7. The M109 has a crew of 6, a section chief, the driver, the gunner, the assistant gunner, 2 ammunition handlers. The gunner aims a cannon left or right, that's called deflection. The assistant gunner aims the cannon up or down, that's called quadrant. And this is the Max Pro Mine Resistant Ambush Protected Vehicle, or the MRAP. The operationally proven MRAP, incorporating the latest design and armory technology, designed to withstand ballistic arms, mine blasts, improvised explosive devices, nuclear, biological, and chemical environments. By the way, that MRAP, the vehicle you see here today, is the first prototype that went into service in 2008, deployed to Iraq. And this is the RG-31 Mine Protected Vehicle, MVP, MPV. Internationally proven RG-31. High mobility, ease of handling. This is the 40th Infantry Division. Headquartered in Los Alamitos at the Joint Forces Training Base. Round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, the 40th Infantry Division has responsibilities for 5 subordinate brigades within the state of California, 4 additional brigades assigned to other western states, a total force structure of the 40th representing over 15,000 National Guard soldiers, commanded by Brigadier General Mark Malenka. In 2017, the 40th Infantry Division celebrating its 100th anniversary as an Army organization. This division, by the way, folks, was formed at Camp Kearney, San Diego, September 16, 1917, as America entered World War I, and then deployed to France in 1918. Subsequently, the division fought as an organization in both World War II and the Korean War. Since 9/11, the 40th has also deployed elements in support of combat operations in both Iraq and Afghanistan. The soldiers of the 40th Infantry Division, standing ready to engage America's enemies and protect California on the battlefield and on the home front, as National Guard citizen soldiers. Ladies and gentlemen, passing in front of the reviewing stand, United States Army Corps of Engineers, Los Angeles District. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And they're presenting Bobber. That's Bobber, the water dog. Bobber, the water and safety dog. You'd know him anywhere. It's their mascot. And by the way, kids out there, Bobber wants you all to be safe in and around the water, so he's here to remind you. He's got 4 golden rules. Here they are. Number 1, learn to swim well. Number 2, don't swim in water over your head. Number 3, always have an adult with you. And number 4, wear a life jacket. Those are Bobber's main rules. Los Angeles District of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, responsible for more than 250,000 square miles in 4 states, California, Arizona, Nevada, and Utah. Protecting 420 miles of shoreline from Morro Bay to the Mexican border. And this is the United States Army Reserve 250th Transport Company. This is a medium truck company, if those are medium trucks, of the U.S. Army Reserve located in South El Monte, California, utilizing the M915A5 line haul trailer truck, coupled with the M872 trailer. Each truck capable of hauling over 34 tons of cargo in support of combat and civil missions. By the way, the 250th has proudly and faithfully served in the United States for over 75 years. They participated in the Rhineland campaign during the Second World War, Operation Desert Storm, and most recently, Operation Iraqi Freedom. Watch out for those water cannons. Or kids, get in it. This is the Army Tactical Firefighting Truck.
You better hope they don't get you.
Well, they will. This is a U.S. Army Reserve 582nd and the 593rd Engineering Detachments. This firefighting truck, by the way, folks, is ready to deploy in almost any terrain to combat 5 types of fires or hazards. It's either wild land, structural, petroleum, oils, lubricants, hazmat. And you kids in the audience, that may look like a fun truck, but that's what they send to aircraft crashes. That's how they get the fires out in places where you can't even go. Folks, this is the Richardson Middle School Band and Color Guard. Ladies and gentlemen, the California State Military Reserve 26th Cavalry Support Regiment. The 26th is stationed at the Joint Forces Training Base in Los Alamitos, California, under the command of Major Frank Chiambo. Ladies and gentlemen, a little bit about the float you're about to see. The California State Military Reserve, the CSMR, the Defense Force of the State of California. This is a ready force providing the highest quality support to the ARNG and the ANG and the Joint Staff serving California. The mission of the California State Military Reserve is to provide an adequately trained, organized state military reserve force under the exclusive control of the governor, capable of accomplishing those state emergency responsibilities normally assigned to the National Guard when the Guard is federalized or otherwise not available. A warm round of applause for the California State Military Reserve recruiting retention. Their motto is those who can do and those who can do more volunteer. And approaching now the North High School Junior ROTC. The North High Junior Reserves Officer Training Corps. Their program's been the recipient of the Honor Unit with distinction since the year 2000. The Saxon Battalion, known for hosting the Golden Bear West Coast National Drill Competition. Their special teams has won many titles, qualifying to compete in the Nationals of Fort Knox, Kentucky just this year. And commanding them, Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Haley Masai and Cadet Command Sergeant Major Darrell Lobato. And ladies and gentlemen, leading off Division 2, for your viewing and listening pleasure, the Bishop Montgomery High School Night Band and Guard. Ladies and gentlemen, right behind them, the Redondo Union High School Marine Corps Junior ROTC. This is a battalion composed of 95 cadets from all high school grades. Senior Marine Instructor is Chief Warrant Officer 3 Keith Willoughby. Marine Instructor First Sergeant Steve Mick. program offering cadets opportunities to compete on drill teams, participate in community service events, practice public and private sector skills, and learn leadership under the U.S. Marine Corps model, becoming informed, responsible citizens. Approaching the podium, a warm welcome, please, for the Carson High School Marine Corps Junior ROTC. The primary function of this program, developing the leadership abilities and building the character of high school students who choose to participate in this program. They have a curriculum designed to teach participating students basic leadership tenets and skills. The end result, what you see here, young citizens imbued with patriotism and a deeper understanding of their responsibilities to the country. And ladies and gentlemen, the U.S. Naval Recruiting Quarterdeck. The Torrance Armed Forces Day Parade, again, happy to have the commanding officer, Commander Mike Lee from Naval Recruiting District, Los Angeles, riding in a restored 1946 Navy duty Jeep. He's the driver and the owner of the Jeep, Commander Dave Rupp of the Quarterdeck Group. This will be Commander Lee's last parade with us, so let's send him off with a round of applause, please. Godspeed, Commander. Take a look at the size of the cannon. This is a howitzer these Marine Corps personnel are carrying. It gives new color to the meaning of the word heavy artillery. Ladies and gentlemen, marching in the distance, we see the Narbonne High School Navy Junior ROTC from Harbor City, California. By the way, this is their 10th year participation in the Torrance Armed Forces Day Parade. The Narbonne Navy Junior ROTC unit, established by their instructors, Lieutenant Nepomuceno and Master Chief Gardner in August 2003, under the command of Cadet Commander John Villanueva and Cadet Lieutenant Commander Jose Ramirez. Round of applause, please. And by the way, mentioning length of service, Narbonne Navy Junior ROTC's teachers are both retired from the Navy. Service that keeps serving. Folks, you can hear them in the distance. This is the U.S. Naval Sea Cadet Corps, South Bay Coastal Division. And by the way, a round of applause for our young brownies who are carrying the signs walking by here. Woo! The United States Navy Naval Sea Cadet Corps, established over 50 years ago, serving nearly every state in the Union. Supported by the Navy and the Navy League. By the way, the South Bay Coastal Division is one of the newest divisions in the country. It was formed in February of this year, helping American youth realize personal success and achievement through a nautically oriented training program. Ladies and gentlemen, the Central Torrance Combined Band. We'll listen as they come by, but this is the Central Area Marching Band, comprised of band students from Hull Middle School, Madrona Middle School, and Torrance High. 3 schools marching as a joint unit, and they've been doing so for the last 3 years. Ladies and gentlemen, right on their heels, the U.S. Coast Guard station in Los Angeles, Long Beach, executing operational tasking in an area that stretches from the northern boundary at Point Dume to the southern boundary at San Mateo, and offshore boundary out to 50 nautical miles, including Santa Catalina Island. They provide fully mission-capable assets in support of maritime homeland security. This station is currently designated as both a Level 4 pursuit and a Level 1 PWCS unit. And they're performed with two assets, and you're watching them go by right now. The 45-foot response boat medium, which is a durable choice for inclement weather operations, and the 29-foot response boat small, fast, maneuverable. And that's the one on display today. And this is the U.S. Coast Guard Maritime Safety and Security Team. Round of applause for them, please. They provide port security, law enforcement, a deployable unit, using 6 25-foot response boats to carry out their mission. They offer a complementary, non-redundant Coast Guard capability designed to close significant readiness gaps in strategic ports. That's a very wordy way of saying they keep us safe. And coming by now, this is the U.S. Coast Guard 26-foot aids to navigation. This is the U.S. Coast Guard Team Los Angeles Long Beach, stationed in San Pedro, California, servicing the buoys, the lighthouses, and fixed navigational beacons. Give a warm salute to Ian 80, the officer in charge. He and his crew and the trailerable aids to navigation boat can be seen anywhere from Dana Point to Morro Bay, including Catalina and the Channel Islands, servicing our waterways. And ladies and gentlemen, the next boat to approach, as we watch them at the very beginning of the reviewing stand, making their way through, being hauled by the F-350. The U.S. Coast Guard auxiliary vessel Seahawk. Absolutely beautiful craft. Motor vessel Seahawk, United States Coast Guard auxiliary facility. Vessel being used as the Port of Los Angeles and Long Beach, doing multiple missions like search and rescue, keeping the port and the boating public safe. They also do safety patrols at Pyramid Lake during the summer months, helping out the Sheriff's Department there. Thousands of patrol hours, earning the Auxiliary Operational Excellence Award for 5 consecutive years. And ladies and gentlemen, approaching, this is St. Catherine's Academy. I'll tell you about them now so we can listen to them as they go by. These are the youngest men and women in uniform today, roughly 3rd through 8th grade cadets, St. Catherine's. The regiment, the band, the color guard, the drill team. It's a Catholic boys' school with a military tradition, founded in 1889. Ladies and gentlemen, I should tell you that St. Catherine's is the only school of its kind in the nation, educating transitional kindergarten through 8th grade students. The students are local, national, and international, representing more than 5 different countries. Those are the young men and women you just saw march before you. The cadets earning their uniform decorations for scholarship, citizenship, and conduct. St. Catherine's, by the way, is a Catholic boys' school that was founded by the Dominican Sisters of Mission San Jose. And we're proud to have them here at the parade. We hear some gunfire going off in the background, and I'll tell you about those folks when they get a little bit closer, but don't worry, those are blanks. I'm sure you assume that, but I thought I should say it anyway. Approaching the reviewing stand now, the Sons of the American Revolution. This is the Harbor chapter. The Sons of the American Revolution, happy to represent one of the longest male lineage bloodline organizations in the United States. And by the way, you'll be interested to know this. Prominent Sons of the American Revolution members include 16 United States presidents, United States senators and representatives. Sons of the American Revolution Color Guard members answered their country's call in every major American conflict. The Sons of the American Revolution. And with that 8-gun salute, this is the 1st North Carolina Cavalry Civil War reenactors. Their goal is to honor the soldiers both North and South who fought in the war between the states. They participate in parades, battle reenactments, and they're followed by the North High School Marching Band and Color Guard. Ladies and gentlemen, the Saxon Regiment Marching Band and Color Guard, part of the instrumental music program at North High School, Torrance. Award-winning, placing 2nd place in the California State Band Championships in 2013, 14, and 15. The Color Guard captains are Amy Shimizu and Jessica Novak. And we thank you for joining us for this 58th edition of the Armed Forces Day Parade for the City of Torrance. See you next year.